story time with Grandma is the Hawaii Snowman. Who ever thought of a snowman being in Hawaii? Well, this is a story about just that. Presented to the keiki of Hawaii, which means children of Hawaii, right here. See? And the Hawai'i Snowman, this is it right here. Written by Christine Lee to Charlotte and Samantha, our wonderful daughters. So she's dedicating this book to her daughters. And I dedicate it to my granddaughters also. I'm going to adopt you. Each time I read a story, you're going to become my grandchild if you're willing. All right, so here is the first picture. And this story says right here, it was 5 days before Christmas and the children who built the snowman had gone home. The hotel was closed. The only person inside was the chef, and he was busy carving a large ice sculpture. The snowman felt very alone standing at the windy top of the snow-covered mountain. So look at the pretty illustrations. Look at that mountain with the snow. Here he is all by himself. He looks kind of lonely, doesn't he? He's looking up. Look at, there's a shooting star. He's looking up at the moon. The moon is smiling at him. He's telling him, don't be lonely, I'm with you. Night came and he looked up at the sky. He saw the way the stars shone and glittered, how the clouds were not there. He saw the moon, and then to his surprise, he saw a shooting star. That's the one I told you about right there. See that? Make a wish, whispered the moon. Make a wish. Anything I want? Asked the snowman. Yes, she glowed. Anything, right? Looks like he's thinking about it. What can I wish for? What do you think is his nose? His nose is bright orange. What's that? You think that's a piece of broccoli? Or is that an apple nose? Or is that, what do you think? A carrot? Really? You think it's a carrot? I think so too. Oh, look at that. The moon is kind of waiting and wondering what he's thinking about. And then it says, the snowman thought for a moment, and then he said, I wish to go on vacation. Where to? The moon asked. Now he didn't know much about the world. He had to learn about different countries. The children who built him were from the bottom of the mountain, and he didn't think that taking the ski lift down the slope really counted as a true vacation. In fact, he had never moved from the very place where he was built. It's like wherever you were born, if you never moved away from that house or that town, and you never left your bedroom, that's kind of like what he was feeling like. He's never been anywhere else, so he doesn't know where he would even wish to go. He had no idea. Tell me, said the moon, for it will soon be day and I must go. So the moon has to go away. So guess who comes back? The sun comes back in its place. Oh, and look at the picture here. Oh, isn't that pretty? Look at this. I like the artist who did this. Look at that little car, and it's got snow on it. And then there's the snowman. So now I'm going to read this page, okay? Then he remembered that one of the boys that actually made him had said the mountain was too cold. He wished he could go to Hawaii. That's where I live. I live in Hawaii. So Hawaii, said the snowman to the moon, who was starting to drift away. The moon was starting to fade away because it was getting to be daylight. Well, that's a car. As the moon's light faded, the snowman noticed a small glow. He watched as the light wound its way up the road, getting closer and closer, turning into two bright beams. A red truck stopped just in front of him. Here's the red truck. That's the light in front of the truck. You know, and it has snow on it. See that? And here is the next page. There's a crate in the back of it. So there's something inside, and that arrow pointing up says up. So don't tip it upside down. You might break it. Whoa, what could that be? That's the chef at the restaurant. And that looks pretty special. Out of the hotel came the chef, pulling a wooden cart. On it was a beautiful reindeer made of ice. Go with the reindeer, said the moon from behind the mountain peak. He was trying to tell the snowman to sneak in to be with the reindeer because he was made out of ice and the snowman is made out of ice. So he knows, the moon knows that the snowman would be safe because he'd be in the freezer. So the snowman followed the reindeer into the truck, which was nice and cold. Are you going on vacation? He asked the reindeer. Oh no, said the reindeer. I'm going to Hawaii for Christmas. I will stand in the entrance of a grand hotel. So that's the words I just read right there. So he's going to go as a decoration on probably a table for a big dinner. Oh, look at that. Big waves. Look at the big waves. See that? And they're traveling on this boat all the way across the ocean. All the way. Wherever the snow is where they're traveling from. Later that evening, they felt their container being lifted onto a ship. On the second day, the ocean became rough and the reindeer and the snowman slid left and right. So they're inside that wooden box and they're sliding back and forth because the waves are so big. Some of the waves were taller than the boat. Oh, that'd be kind of scary, wouldn't it? Look at how big those waves are. And that little snowman and that reindeer are right inside that boat. That would be kind of spooky, huh? Oh, look. The ice reindeer, he's called an ice sculpture. What do you see on his eye? He's got a tear. He's got an icy teardrop coming out of his left eye. It's his left eye. And here's the next page where I'm going to read. And who do you see? You see the little snowman. He's probably wondering why the reindeer looks so sad. So here it is, the big picture. The reindeer flew up into the air and fell back down and shattered her leg. Aww. I will never be able to stand, she cried, and tears froze into tiny droplets on her cheeks. Don't be sad, the snowman said. I can help. And as soon as the waters were calm and he took the snowflakes from his body and he pressed them into the wound or the broken part of her leg of ice. He started at the top and carefully worked his way down. By the time they arrived in Hawaii, the reindeer's leg was strong and beautiful again. Thank you, said the reindeer. Thank you. That's how we help our friends, right? If we can help somebody, we should, right? So here's the next page. Oh, where do you think they landed? What is he standing on? The snowman is standing somewhere. Oh, there's the moon again. The moon is smiling. Outside the box, it was night. And although there were stars in the sky, just like the mountain, the air was still and sweet. The snowman walked along the sand at the edge of the sea. It was soft and wet like the snow, but not as cold. I've never seen a real snowman in Hawaii, the ocean said. So that's the ocean speaking to the snowman. See, right here. He's talking to him right there. So he said, the snowmen, they usually melt. What's melt? He asked. So the snowman wanted to find out what melt meant. The sea lapped up to his feet and explained, when the day comes, the sun will be hot, and this will turn you into water. Like you? The ocean looked at the snowman's size, which was smaller as he'd used a lot of his snow to mend the reindeer's leg. More like a puddle, the ocean said. Worried and tired, the snowman sat down on the grass. I don't want to be a puddle, he cried out loud. Because he's a snowman. He's a snowman. He doesn't want to change. He was created to be a snowman. Ooh, look at that. That's Hawaii. That's the shore, the beach. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, look at, he's looking at the flowers. Oh, what's he doing? So we're going to find out what he's doing right here, okay? Here's this page that I'm going to read to you next. A puddle, a puddle, a puddle, squeaked three flowers. Can you become a puddle? When it is hot, he said. Look at us, they squeaked some more. No one has watered us for days. We are so thirsty we can't stand straight. And our colors are turning brown. We are supposed to be bright for Christmas. That's what the flowers are saying. The snowman saw how the poor flowers were bent over in thirst, how the ends of their leaves were dried and crinkled, and he took some of his snow and put it around their stem. When the day comes, the snow will melt and you can drink, said the snowman. Thank you, said the flowers. Thank you. See, so he's putting some snow from his own little snowman body. He's taken pieces out of himself and he's putting it down there. So when it melts, it'll turn into water and the flowers can get their drink of water. Look at these girls. They live in Hawaii. There is the snowman. He's putting the snow for the little flowers. Those girls see him. I want to see Frosty the Snowman, the two girls shouted. He looked up. So there was another snowman in Hawaii? Please, they said, pulling their parents towards a trolley. Quickly, he followed all aboard. The driver called, and soon they were passing a large pink hotel, and through the window he saw the reindeer standing near the entrance. Remember the reindeer, the ice sculpture reindeer? She turned her face toward him, and he saw that the tears had changed into a beautiful smile. So the reindeer that the snowman had helped was smiling because she was in her place at the big fancy hotel. Look at the palm trees. They got Christmas lights on them. And he's in the water. Look at that. And here, oh my goodness, I can't wait to read this side of the story. Then they passed thousands of colored lights blinking red and green and gold. There were elves, a Santa, and Mrs. Claus too. And finally there was Frosty. He hurried off the trolley, afraid that day was coming, so he didn't want to melt. Frosty was very, very big. The snowman, who had used most of his snow for the reindeer and the flowers, was now very, very small. He had shrunk. He was melting. Would Frosty hear him? But before he could even try to speak, Frosty said, I spoke to the moon and she told me you must wait here. What for? He asked. For an old friend of mine. He helped me once, and the moon says he wants to help you too. So, looks like the snowman is going to get some help from some friends. And this was Frosty the Snowman that was talking to him. Because Frosty the Snowman spoke to the moon, and the moon told him to tell the little snowman to wait right there because someone's going to help him. Who could that be? Look, you know who that is? Yes. Who is that? And here he is riding through the sky. Frosty pointed up to the sky, and at first the snowman thought he was pointing to the moon, but then from out of the stars he saw a golden sleigh pulled by 9 magical reindeer. Santa! The snowman shouted excitedly. The children told me all about Santa. The children who had made him up at the top of the mountain told him about Santa. I bet that's who told him. Oh, look at this big picture. What do you think that is? That looks like the sled. That's the sleigh that Santa rides. Oh, and there's a little snowman. Look at how tiny he is. He's shrunk to a little tiny, tiny snowman. And right here it says, the sleigh shone in the moonlight, and the ring of bells silenced all who were close enough to hear. Santa pulled the sleigh right up to where the snowman was standing. There's the sleigh, and he pulled it right up to the little, he almost could run over him because he's so tiny, maybe he wouldn't see him. And here's the next page. Oh my goodness. Santa was looking down at that little tiny, look at a little tiny snowman. Did you ever feel small like that? I bet. Sometimes we feel kind of small. You know the true meaning of Christmas, Santa said. I do? Yes, said Santa. When the reindeer hurt her leg, you gave what you could to help her. And when the flowers were thirsty, you took your snow to make them water. You have shown great kindness. Here they call this the Aloha Spirit. You are a true Hawai'i snowman. That's what he's telling him. You are a true Hawai'i snowman. But now you are afraid you will turn into a puddle? Santa asked. Yes, it is nearly day. When the sun becomes hot, I will melt. That's what the little snowman was saying. The tiny snowman was saying to Santa. Oh, look at that friendly face. There's Santa talking to him. And there's the little snowman. Look at his little body right there at the back of him. Then come with me, said Santa. I have plenty of space in the sleigh. I already gave the children their presents, and in most of the world, I have a few more stops, and then I'm going home. To the North Pole? Yes, it's cold there, and you will not be lonely. There are elves and reindeer, and Mrs. Claus, too. Thank you, said the snowman. Thank you. And Santa stretched out his hand, and the snowman climbed into his palm. So he climbed into Santa's, that's the palm right there of your hand, right in the middle, that little cup. That's where the snowman was sitting, in Santa's hand, like that. In fact, he was now the smallest snowman that had ever walked the earth. Do you think the snowman was walking? I think he kind of waddled. He didn't have any legs, did he? But he was also the one with the largest and the happiest heart. Ooh. There is the end of the story. Look at the little snowman. See? He found his way home with the help of the reindeer and of Santa and the boys and girls. So now every time you see it snow, think about the little snowman. He's probably shaking his snow at you down on earth, on your head, and on your car. So I hope you like this story. This is Grandma's story time, and it's called Story Time with Jima, and I hope you enjoyed it. And there will be more stories coming too. So if you like this, here it is. You can probably maybe check it out in the library. I checked this out in the library down in Kona, and they have a great children's section. So on to the next story. Thank you for watching.